Emo Tempest here. I want to bring you guys another deck profile. This is what I'm working on. This is one of the decks that I'm working on post water. Like I mentioned in my last video, I'm going to try to stay away from water as much as I can. There's a lot of times where I find myself building decks and I go, man, if I could really splash water into this, it would be, a good idea. But I didn't want to do that for all my decks. So this is the first version of the Mono Wind turbo deck. My real problem with this deck so far is that I'm not getting the turbo aspect from it. It's not as fast as I'd want to yet. I think I know what the problem is, and I'll talk about those changes as we go. But for now, let me just run through the deck profile. I'm going to show you guys kind of the plays after this too. I want to show you, this will be my new format, I guess, going forward. This is actually a test. This might be the way I start doing deck profiles because I had some problems with the last one using screen recording and I didn't like it. So with that being said, here it is. These are the forwards for you. Triple Van, if you guys don't know what Van does, when he comes onto the field, he can drop a 3-cost or lower wind character, forward, from your hand. And I use that. And when he attacks, choose up to 2 backups you control and activate them. So next is Kane-san. Triple Kane-san, double Bartz, 1 Minerva. The reason I play Minerva, again, I'll go into that later, is because I have the energy, I have the CP for it for the most part all the time. Anyway, so triple Trey, triple Moogle, triple Bartz, double Ritz, double Zidane, and double Dorgan. Each of these cards, I think, going forward, I know what I'm going to change. Like I said, I do want to try to incorporate the pain and the Rikus because I think that'll speed up the backup process. Setting up the backup, which is really important for this deck. So next is the backups. We have triple Maria. Some of these forwards are a little weaker, so you want to make sure you get them that extra 1,000. The next is Aurun Senna. She's important to search the other pieces for the Senna engine. You have the triple Ryo Senna as well. She's the one that's going to help let Kane-Senna get the buff and can't be targeted. You have White Mage, also just in case you have that problem with forwards, trying to get over them. And you're playing 2 Archer, 4 Archer, but 2 Archer from Opus 4 and 2 Archer from Opus 1. They each do something important to me, I think, for this deck. The way people use Tortoise and Cecil and stuff like that, you kind of mitigate damage. So that's why I'm playing the Opus 4 Archer. And you already know what the Opus 2 Archer is. That's just to help you deal with pesky back row and stuff like that. I'm only playing 2 because, as far as I can think, there isn't much back row that this deck is concerned about. Beside the usual, if you want to pop one of their, the ones that give their forwards, like the mono decks give their forwards, or other wind decks, I can't even pop a Maria with this card, but still, the other ones, like Minwoo and stuff like that, and, whatever you use it for. And then 1 Aerith. I don't really see the need for it the more I play this one, but I just like the idea of not being targeted by people's backups. And lastly is the summons. Now, the summons are pretty straightforward, but I just want to go over them in detail a little bit for you. I will also show you how the plays work after this. The first is 2 Veil of 4. You will see why those are really good. I tried playing 3. I felt like they were too cloggy. I always found myself pitching the third one. But while you're playing, you don't want to pitch these normally because you only have 2 now. So that was a trade-off I guess I'd have to get used to. The triple Diablos. This card is very important. You'll ideally have generated 5 backup right away, and that should be 5k damage. And then as long as you have 2 or 3 forwards, which you will have, you are playing the Bartz, so you want to have at least 4 or 5. This will be dealing 8k, 7 to 9k on average, somewhere in between that, which is what you want. That'll break most forwards. And then the other reason you play it is because you're playing the Trey. This will refresh your backups. You pretty much play this for free. So it's like, you play it, okay, I use my 3 backups, but I'll refresh them, reactivate them. I do plan on trying to fit in 7 or Deuce, which is the 2-cost 0-class cadets. They each do something different, but I like 7 a little bit more, just for Trey and her, just so they can kind of sneak in some points of damage. And then I'm playing 2 Azura. I don't know how I feel about this card yet. I do. It is good to activate 2 forwards when you're on the defensive, kind of like how water does. Like I'm used to playing with water with fairy and astrologian. Or choose to activate 5 backups. That also helps with the combos going forward. And you can bring 2 cost or a character card of 2 costs or less from your break zone into your hand. Now that's very specific, but it does happen. If you're playing any other win matchups that try to that play Archer, they will try to blow up your Ryo Senna, which is the one that lets Kana Senna, the forward, get her buffs and her ability to not be targeted. So, if you are out or you've happened to pitch them already and they manage to break it, the worst case scenario is you can get Asura back. But like I said, those are just situations. You can obviously get any of the other backups like your archers or your white mage, but that's the main concern because that's kind of how I've learned people deal with the Kana Senna sometimes. And lastly, I'm playing 2 Kobold Droid. The reason I wasn't playing this originally, but then I added it in. I was playing the 1 cost Black Chocobo and the Dragon, but I didn't like those cards at all. Kobold Droid is super cool. He does sneak in damage whenever possible, so you're always kind of pushing for game in some way. The other thing is that his job is Zwerg Droid, so whenever you do manage to get all the other characters, even if you only have 4. You can just summon out the Kobold Droid, and he can be the 5th job for Bartz. That was the main thing behind him. You always wanted to have a pocket one. Even if you only have 2 and Bartz, when you activate it, Bartz will get haste and first strike, so you can block with Bartz. It's kind of like a little defensive hidden tactic, having the 3rd job kept away. But yeah, that's it, and that's it for the monsters. And now, here we go into the plays, guys. These are the reasons I wanted to build the deck. This was the main idea behind it. Usually when I construct decks, I like to think of the plays or the play that the significant play that kind of is the focus of the deck. I know you can also build decks around category and stuff like that, or element. But in my opinion, like the Barbarisia and Palom play in our previous, one of our older Fire Dancer videos, the combo there is to, be able to kill it all, board wipe your opponent's board. Similar to this doesn't, board wipe your opponent's field, but these are the plays that generate the momentum of the duel in your favor. And so the most important one is Kana Senna, excuse me, I always say that wrong. And the reason she's important is because as long as Aurun Senna is on the board, when she comes onto the board, you'll pay 5, and then if she has it on the board, they'll all reactivate. So that's good. So that means you have 5 new backups, 5 fresh backups to summon other things. The other thing is while Ryo Senna's on the board, she gets 2,000 and can't be targeted by ability. So she's a 9k forward. Now ideally you would do this turn 1, or not turn 1, but the first part of the play, and then you'll do Bartz as well. Bartz does the same thing. So you would pay all 5 backups, and then activate them all right back up again. That's 2 forwards, that's 2 9k forwards for you, almost pretty much for free. And if that wasn't enough, you can just drop Van. You'll pay 5 for Van, and when Van summons, you can drop any 3 cost wind that you want. So you have choices. You can drop a Zidane, just to kind of help, see what your opponent's hand is. If you drop Bartz, he already has 4, with them 3 on the board, he has 4 names, 4 jobs, so he'll be able to do at least the haste and first strike. Or you can do the Dorgan for, control. We also have the Ritz here, too. Ritz is kind of the backup to help protect against all these things. Even though she can be targeted by abilities, they can all be lifted by, summons, or, whatever. But it's just a little added security for them. But yeah, so you pick which one of these you want to drop, and it works in conjunction. You don't need to have them all at the same time, but as long as you have Bartz or Kana Senna, you can do these plays. So you can do Bartz, activate everything, okay, and then I'll just Van into Ritz. That's 3 forwards there. So as long as Maria, that's 8k, 10k, 8k. One of the main changes I want to do to this deck is I also want to add Shara, I believe her name is, Ritz's a partner in crime, if you will. When she's on the board, Ritz becomes a 9k attacker as well. So, you know, that's pretty much three 10ks. If you have Kana-sana out, what's going to happen there? Your opponent has, they have to start exhausting their resources just to get over your board. Now, the real kicker is kind of this, Velafor. So pretty much, let's say you can swing or whatever and you don't have anything, or your opponent is about to kill you. You can just do this, Velafor. You'll tap 5 or you'll pitch whatever just to get everyone back to your hand. And like I said, because everyone refreshes on your next turn, you can just go right ahead and start doing it again. Summon, activate, summon, activate, summon. It's all pretty much free. I know that's why I was thinking playing triple Velafor was important, but the main thing is that you just get these cards on the board. So this is just that extra security just to help push them out of the way. You can do this offensively, defensively, it's anything, but you don't lose. You don't mind this. You don't have to choose between summoning Kana-sana again or Bartz again or Van again, because they all come out again. It doesn't matter. Once you have the backups, the most important thing for this deck is to get the backup board as fast as you can. That's really the key there. And I guess, like I was saying, one of the main changes I want to do is bring in the Pain and the Riku, just so I can generate backups a little faster, and then keep dropping. So just so I can get to the 5 backups and then play my forwards. Yeah. So that's the first play. That's the first combo for you guys to understand. We'll set these back up again for you. And one of the other things here is also Trey and Diablos. Like I mentioned before, once you have the 5 backups, even right here, you play it, you're going to be dealing 6k. If you've managed to do, the Van into a Ritz, you'll have 8k. Or if you just did the play I just mentioned, when you eventually get some in the tray afterwards, you have 10k on the board already. This is kind of the big deal. You just want to just go play it. And then, sure enough, because you have Trey on the board, they will reactivate. So you'll be able to play for Archer again. You'll be able to play for White Mage. You can pay for your other summons. Anything you want, really. The backups are always going to be active unless, you just don't let them be. But it also helps throughout the game when you, let's say you have double Diablos in your hand, but, you only have the 3 backups. It's fine. You can just use it, pitch it, and then you can use another one right away, as long as one of the cadets are on board, which is why I want to add 7 or Deuce or whatever to the mix. But yeah, those are the plays, those are the combos. Those are the main ideas behind the deck. I wanted to just get all these big bodies on board and just start swinging to my content. You can even, that's another reason why I brought in the Minerva. Yeah, she's a 7 cost, but I could still do, again, same concept. Let's say I don't have anything, I can do Kana-sana into Bartz, and then sure, I'll pitch one. I'll pitch the Ritz, and then tap all 5 to get Minerva out. But that's still big. That's still 3 big bodies on board. 10k, 10k, 11k with Maria. That's what I'm getting at. But yeah, so those are just the plays for you guys. I am open to suggestions. Again, this is the first version. I've done a small amount of playtesting, nothing worth recording, so I wasn't able to share anything with you guys, any duels this week. Hopefully next week I'll have some new stuff to show you. I do have stuff to show you for next week, but I mean duel-wise, with the changes I've made and how it plays against other decks. Since I've retired the water deck, I have, I'm gonna test all of these decks against water, which is important. And test them against the other stuff, lightning, earth, fire. We're building a lot of decks here. And yeah, so that's it for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you like it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please share this video. That'd be cool too. And I'll see you next week for more Final Fantasy.